23-year-old talks about making 40 lakh rupees a month.
This came from this frustration that I was not able to crack IIT JEE.
So you only employ people that do not have work-life balance.
There is no success in balance. So that tweet is basically yaps 24/7, has no job, is 21 for the last 3 years. People who are like, हमें तो international exposure चाहिए, and they're like, इसलिए MBA कर लेता हूँ. I think that's the worst thing you can do. Today, the best way to learn anything is to literally use AI tools. Storytelling works really well. Most companies are not focusing on it at all. They get the funding, they burn it in ads. Look at the thinking process of Deepseek.
And it's made cost effective also.
I know the number that you're gonna say, but that's not really the cost of building it from scratch. Learn PR from that.
Hi Ishan, thank you so much for coming on Aleena Dissects finally.
Thank you so much, Aleena, for inviting me. How are you?
I'm happy you're here. I'm very good. You're quite an inspiration to the younger generation through YouTube. And I love the sensibility that you have for your age. Mm-hmm. So you were telling me about how like you grew up in Indore and you had your work and hustle over there. And then you moved to Bombay. What difference did you see in the two cities and what did you learn?
I don't even think I enjoyed when I was in Bombay. Bombay for me was basically living in Charkop, going to Malad, Ryan International I was studying, and it was just that cycle. I never even went below the airport.
Oh.
I did not visit BKC, did not see CST or Bandra or Marine Drive, did not see that at all.
Okay.
That was just my cycle of the day. And there was a big change in my life in which I was just obsessed with trying to clear IIT JEE exam. So I was just studying for that. Subah uth karke used to go to Ryan Malad, study there, come back by about 7 or 8 and then sleep and then just rinse and repeat. I lost about 20 kgs of my weight. I went from 80 to 60 kgs.
Wow.
In this, and it is unhealthy. You should not do that. I was skipping meals. I was too stressed कि मैं ये कर पाऊँगा कि नहीं कर पाऊँगा. Clear exam नहीं कर पाया end में. But उतनी मेहनत कभी नहीं करी I think life में.
Did that feel like a setback?
It was a setback, but I was like, yeah, I'm done with this phase of my life. I am done with trying to crack this stupid exam. I'm going to go outside of this and start a new life.
And what did you decide to do then?
I just picked up my laptop, downloaded Python ka course from Udemy and started learning code.
Okay, that's how
that was the day when my IIT JEE exam ended.
Okay.
27th of May 2019.
Did you know that you wanted to become a content creator?
I had no clue about that. I was not able to communicate properly, right? I was a very shy Sharma ji ka typical beta jo piche baithta hai, was not able to talk, socially awkward, cannot make up a conversation. That is who I was. And I'd never tried to get out of my shell and interact with people. But then I learned code. I learned about other skills like video editing. I learned about machine learning and AI. Then I went to my college.
How old were you?
I was 18.
Okay.
But in that 3-4 month period, that was like a renaissance period in my life in which I just learned so many things and tried to apply stuff. And I learned the importance of skills then.
Okay, and which is the most important skill you learned that time?
I think the most important skill to learn is how to learn things fast.
Okay, how do you learn something fast?
I think my framework of learning anything fast is, first of all, you sit down, you open the first 10 Google links whenever you search something. Let's say you search video editing. The first 10 links and just read through all of that. That is how I did it when I was doing it in 2019. However, today, the best way to learn anything is to literally use AI tools. And yesterday I was making a video about it. The fastest way to learn anything that you want to is to just go to Google AI Studio. There's a feature called Stream Real Time. You open that and you share your screen.
Okay.
Over there. It's like a Gmeet. You can share your screen. And just like you have a person looking at your screen in Gmeet, there is an AI which looks at what you are sharing.
Okay.
And you can ask any question about what is on your screen. So you can go to a code editor and you can ask it that, okay, I want to build a portfolio website. Tell me how to do it. And it will talk to you in real time and help you build it step by step.
So it seems like a teacher is teaching you privately.
Exactly.
Like you don't need tuitions.
For completely free. No tuitions, at your home, you can learn anything that you want. And that is what blows my mind today in 2025.
Yeah, that's great, because I, for example, struggle to like concentrate to learn something. Of course, I pick up things that are of my interest faster, but then some things that are not and you need to learn for business, it just takes me a lot of time to be able to learn it and then apply. But once I learn it, it becomes easier.
Yeah, like most people download courses and they try to learn a skill.
Yeah.
I did that as well. But the best thing about what I did was, I think even the course was great in the sense that I would, let's say, watch the course for, let's say, 30 minutes. And then it was all about exercises, like projects, trying things out, coming up with an idea to build something and just writing code to build that, building that logic in your mind and then executing on that. So just these projects is what helped me become better at code, better at video editing, better at design, better at social media. So all of these skills I tried to learn thoda, like obviously I cannot master it in my first year of college.
And then how did you start applying and practicing it?
So there was this is amazing, trick for any college student who's watching this. The best thing you can do when you're in first year of college is to just go and join clubs and societies in your college.
Okay.
Don't hesitate. Go and apply to all of them and just sit down and try to solve their problems. So I was a part of a developer society. And what I did for them, I was supposed to code there. But at that phase of my first year, I was learning about social media and design. So I learned how to use Canva. I learned about how to create carousel posts on Instagram. And remember, at that time, I did not have an Instagram account.
Okay.
2019.
Okay.
I was not on Instagram.
Wow.
I opened Instagram in December of 2019 and it was a public profile. उससे पहले कुछ भी नहीं था. I did not know anything about carousel क्या होता है, reel क्या होती है.
My God, you're from that generation. In our times, there was no Canva also. We had to sit next to a graphic designer and be like, logo shift from here to here. Then wait for him to do it and then send us the file and everything.
Yeah. So it was 2020 का Holi. And that day, उससे एक दिन पहले, I had to create a Holi वाला post for the developer society. I sat down for the whole night. I was designing it. And then I got done by 4 a.m. in the morning.
Okay.
And I didn't even look at the clock. मैंने फिर बाद में देखा कि 4 बज गए सुबह के. And that is when it hit me that I can literally get paid zero and still do this for 6 hours at a stretch without even knowing क्या time हो रहा है.
Because you like it.
That is when I knew that I love this and I can do it without getting paid for it.
Okay. And then how did you decide, like when did you get your first payment for it?
I did not get payment for it. It's a developer society, right? So you basically get recognition for doing it. Everyone was like, this is amazing work. Okay. And I was getting experience because इससे पहले मैंने कभी कुछ design नहीं किया था. I had learned how to use Canva, but उसका application I did in these clubs and societies. So I learned a lot about design by applying.
When did you think that, okay, now I need to be able to make money out of this? What steps should somebody take for
I didn't even know how to get money out of it. I was just doing it as someone who's so curious about creating something new from scratch, from a blank Google Doc sheet. And so I was focusing on that. I started my YouTube channel right around the pandemic time.
Okay.
So March of 2020 is when I came back home from my college bits Goa. I was staying in Mumbai back then. And every day I would just learn something new and attend the lectures in my college and just upskill myself and document my journey on YouTube. So when I was doing that, there was a company who reached out to me when I had about 3,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Okay.
Which is nothing in today's age. And they said that, Ishan, we saw your video and we like the way you were displaying everything, the way you were talking about any topic. And we now want you to make videos on our YouTube channel as a presenter.
Okay.
And so they were asking, how much do you charge? And I was like, charge?
Yeah.
I've never worked for anyone. And you're telling me that you will pay me for doing something that I would anyways do for free.
Right.
So my father was like, nahi, you should charge 5,000 rupees. Like 5,000 rupees for one video? Like this is me at 18. I had no clue about like how to make something for value, how to charge for it. And how important can this thing be for the client?
Right.
I was like, नहीं इतना तो नहीं पे करेंगे. I think ये तो बहुत ज़्यादा लग रहा है. So I was like 3,000 कर दो. 3,000 is like a conservative number. बीच में average.
Okay.
I was like 3,000. May I'll record the video. I'll also edit the video.
Oh.
And that startup was basically a job hiring platform. So let's say Reliance में customer service की job available है. So on their app you can go and apply. But basically I would make a video talking about this role. इसमें आपकी क्या responsibilities होती हैं, इसमें interview questions क्या पूछे जाते हैं, and how can you apply. And apply का CTA was the app.
Okay.
So this was like a 5, 6, 7 minute video. And so they said, yes, let's do it at 3,000. I was like, lottery lag gayi.
Wow.
So August of 2020, I recorded 3 videos for them and got paid my first payment, which was 9,000 rupees.
Wow.
And I felt the richest I've ever been.
Wow.
That was the best feeling ever.
And then how did you decide, like, okay, I'm going to make, like, it must have given you that boost to make more content and then reach out. How did you settle all of that?
I think even at that point, I wasn't like very much into it. Or karte hain, or I should sell myself more. I did not know how to do that. I was just making videos and just creating visibility for myself and my work. So, for example, I told you I learned Python in 2019. I wanted to revise that in 2020. So I was like, I'll just talk about Python ke concepts, coding concepts, and I'll make a video talking about it. So I made 5 videos. Ki acha, concept number 1, 2, 3, 4. Now those videos had double-digit views. Say 15 views, 20, 21 views, 50 views. No one would even blink an eye on that and think ये कुछ बढ़िया चीज़ है या फिर क्या करना चाहिए कि नहीं करना चाहिए. And मैंने 5 वीडियो बना करके like अभी हो गया मेरा 5 वीडियोस ऐसे enough. कोई नहीं देख रहा है, कोई भाव नहीं दे रहा है. But then October में in 2020, Unacademy is a company which like teaches people about like different topics. So they saw my video. They were among the 20 viewers, and someone from their team reached out to me saying that, Ishan, we saw that video of yours and we want you to teach on our platform.
Okay. And
I'm like a second year student. I have no clue about how to teach. But I was like, chalo, let's try it out. So they were like, come for a demo class, teach. So for 1 hour, I taught. And they were like, this is amazing. We want you to now teach students. And for the next 1 year, till November of 2021, I took over 350 hours of classes teaching students in school about how to build simple games using Python.
Wow.
It was not very hard, but I learned so much about how to articulate myself well, how to say things in the most simple way possible so that anyone can understand.
Right.
And these were like 12-year kids, say 12 to 15 was the age. And they were also curious about learning how to like code stuff. This is the era of White-Hat Junior.
Yeah.
The FOMO was definitely there. So I did that. And that is how like I started like making more money and that's sort of I
think those skills also must have really helped you for your content creation journey, because if you explain to somebody and talk to somebody and teach them, it makes so much of a difference of how to then speak to people and make them understand things.
I had a very weird problem in which I was not able to communicate effectively. And I think this definitely helped me become better at articulation while getting paid for it.
Yeah.
It was a win-win.
Right.
And pehle I used to stammer 10 times before saying a single sentence. I improved on that and got better. And so even today, out of all the 1,500 videos I've made, it's just me sitting in front of the camera and just talking to it without having a script. I will have like 5-6 pointers that I want to cover in the video and I'll make a 30-minute video out of that.
How do you memorize everything that you
I don't memorize. It's just, I think it's something that I'm talking about. It's so ingrained in me that I can just talk it out. I will readjust. I'll say something again so that it lands perfectly. But I think just saying things out as it is, impromptu, just works best for me.
Right.
I've done one video, which was a collaboration with Google, in which I had to write everything word to word.
And then say it.
And then speak it out. And I was like looking at one sentence and then say it. Ek sentence pe bol raha hu. That was like so weird.
Yeah.
It's just not natural to me.
It doesn't happen.
It works for some people. I have a friend of mine.
But you can tell that they're reading out of somewhere.
Not really. He's very creative.
Okay.
So he wants every second of his video to be perfect. He makes like 4-5 minute ke videos are obviously smaller, but every word is written out and uske साथ he adds a comment on every line कि इस line को जब मैं बोल रहा हूँ तो editor को ये effects दिखाने हैं, ये उसकी coloring होनी चाहिए, this should be the text on it, and everything is set by him in stone.
That's a lot.
And he loves it. He loves that process.
He likes it. Okay.
So I think everything works.
Everybody has a different way of doing it. But I've also seen like a huge transition in not only yourself but also your content. So at some point, obviously, you must have been like, okay, I need to make it more professional. I need to make it look good. I need the quality to become better. And then the brand deals or the monies will be also coming accordingly. Tell us how, if somebody's starting on YouTube, how should they make the transition? When should they make the transition?
Transition to higher quality videos?
Yeah. Like how do you keep bettering your quality and your skills and your presentation?
I think the first 100 videos of my channel were all shot on this second-hand Moto G 4th generation that I got.
Okay.
Passed on from my mom because she upgraded to a Poco phone apparently. And so I was recording with the front camera of it. Piche wala camera got blurry because of all the use.
Okay.
So I did not care about the quality at all. I just cared about showing up. And I built that muscle. Ki every day I could not sleep without at least making some progress or uploading the video.
Okay.
So every 2 days I was making one video live.
Wow, that's a lot of work to do.
That is a lot of work, but I just put myself to it. I was like, for better or for worse, I'll make one video every 2 days. And this came from this frustration ki I was not able to crack IIT JEE. And so I need to do something with my life.
Okay.
So it just came out of that obsession that I want to improve, want to get better, want to differentiate myself from everyone in my college.
And why do you think, where does that like come from? Why do you think you have to be able to achieve something?
From my parents, from my father, I think. He's always had like very high expectations.
Okay.
Like I was the kid who would get like 75 out of 80 in like, let's say, Hindi or science. And he'll always be like, 5 number kahan kate?
Okay, one of those.
So I was always like running up to get his praise or to get that acceptance from him. Like I remember ek baar 50 mein se 49 and a half aaye the.
No way, don't. Oh my God.
And first he was like, आधा number kahan kata yaar issue.
Wow.
And obviously praised me afterwards, but I think it comes from that.
That you have to prove it because like there's so much
prove it, and then I just wanted to prove it to myself because of putting in 2-3 years and still not getting what I wanted. I had that chip on my shoulder that I need to prove myself ki I am worthy of the confidence and the respect that I have for my own self.
Okay. And do you think you missed out on a lot of things because you're doing this since such a young age?
I missed out on so much. I missed out on trips. My college was 15 minutes away from a beach in Goa. I went to the beach in total for about 2 times.
Okay.
That's it. People used to go every Friday. So I missed out on the beach outings. I missed out on making new friends. I missed out on making memories. I dropped out of college, so I don't have anyone in my batch who I can call and talk.
Okay.
I missed out on everything.
Do you think it's worth it, or do you think, no, I should have balanced?
It's 100% worth it.
Yeah? You don't think like
I would
you
do
should
it
have...
all over again, exactly the same.
Okay. You don't think that maybe I could have like balanced, maybe had that and this?
There is no success in balance, I think.
Okay.
Because I wanted this life and I had to sacrifice something for it. So the reason I wanted this life was because there's a creator called Agarwal. He was massive in 2017, 18, 19. And I was watching his live stream in which he was about to hit 1 million subscribers. So पीछे ऐसा counter था.
Yeah.
And he was thanking everyone कि अब हमारे 1 million subscriber हो गए हैं. And he used to talk about college advice and stuff, skills similar to what I make, but back in that era. And I could see the impact. And मैं, like any typical subscriber was like, "Arey, say my name, Ishan."
Oh wow.
And he was like, "Ishan, kaise ho?" And I felt so special that day. And I was looking at the impact. He had about 1,000 people on that live stream. And I was like, 1,000 लोगों ने बैठ के देख रहे हैं. And he is an engineering student. He was probably in 4th year at that time. And so if he can do it, I can do it too.
Okay.
So it was just that role models that I had around me, which like pushed me to commit to it. I could see that there were people who were doing it. And so I can do it too. That was...
And you think it is sustainable to be working those many hours and having that much of hustle?
I think eventually you find out ways to do things more effectively. My first, I think, video was about 1 or 2 minute ki video thi, but it took me, I think, 5 hours to
I'm sure.
get it out.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense. But with time, you get used to that workflow and you keep optimizing on that workflow. I used to edit all of my videos myself up till 2021 ka ending. 2022 is when I started hiring people, hiring editors, working with them, hiring a manager in 2022 ka mid. And then since then been having a team which is working on all of that so that I can travel and meet people.
No, I feel like at some point then in the beginning you need to put that hustle and that work, and then you can set systems and processes that run so that it's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But since we're talking about like your age and when you started and all, do you also think like a lot of people come to you and say that you're putting out so much educational content but you are so young? So this happens to a lot of people. For example, I have a friend who's a therapist, okay, and when she was 18, nobody would really listen to her because how much experience can you have about life to teach me something? So I'm just like, comparing that it could be possible that people are saying that to you.
100%. I just saw a tweet and I think I can pull it up right now. I want you to read it out.
Okay.
Right. So that tweet is basically some guy saying, what do you think of this guy? And like, it has my picture. and someone has tagged me there and said, @Ishan, your opinion? ?
Okay.
So
have you replied?
I've not. I just looked at that once.
What did it say?
It just said, yaps 24/7, has no job, is 21 for the last 3 years. Twitter is a very special place. Has a very special place in my heart. It's an anomaly of a platform.
That is true. So what do you have to say to that? Like when people say that maybe
I
you're
accept
too young
it. I accept it. I am not enough. I'm just a 23-year-old who's just figuring out life.
Right.
I don't have things figured out. In fact, I made a reel recently, which it just hit me that I'll be turning 24 this year. And my father got married at 24, had me at 25.
I saw that reel and I said to myself, this guy has achieved so much. How can he feel lesser of his life? And then I thought that you made a great reel because people who are watching only watch the success, right? So they're being like, oh, such a young guy, he's killed it. He's interviewing this. He's getting paid so much. But then you don't see the behind the scene is that exact guy is also feeling insecure about so many other things.
You don't get to see the sleepless nights.
Exactly. So it was very refreshing to see that from you because you always put everything up together. Like it's, this is what you have to do to have a good life, or this is what you do to get more money, or etc. So talking about the other side is also, I think, very important.
I know that I'm not enough, but I know that I have built a platform through which I can bring stories of people who have a lot more experience than I will ever have.
Right.
And so that is the reason why I started my podcast. Yesterday I sat with Pranjal, who's a finance creator, and he has been in the market for over 15-20 years. And I sat down with him and I asked him all the most beginner questions that an 18-year-old would have.
Okay.
About investing and like saving up money and all the traps that you have today around you. So I did that. I went to San Francisco. I met with Arvind Srinivas and I sat down with him and talked about the journey of Perplexity from his days of studying in IIT Madras to now working at OpenAI to then building a competitor of Google and going up against the giant by building Perplexity. So my goal is to bring stories of such people in front of my audience so that they do not have an excuse to say कि वो तो IITian था तो उसने कर लिया, या फिर वो तो बॉम्बे में था तो उसने कर लिया. That has always been the mission. That's what I did with the book as well, which I published with Kushal.
Yes.
So that was the goal. I'm not having all the answers to the questions, but I certainly have the curiosity to ask them to people that I can get access to through whatever brand I've built.
Right. And since you're talking about like podcasting and interviewing, I want to ask, who's the most interesting person you've interviewed and what has been the most interesting part about interviewing them?
I think the best person I've ever met, the best founder I've ever met is Ritesh Agarwal.
Okay, Oyo.
Ritesh Agarwal of Oyo. I met him at a Oyo townhouse in Indore.
Okay.
I sat down with him and had lunch with him before we did the podcast. And he felt such a down-to-earth founder in the sense that before he had the lunch with us, he was sitting with the entire team of that Oyo townhouse, right from the manager to the person who cleans the rooms, and sat down with them and explained everything about the financials of Oyo.
Okay.
In the most basic language. He was like, हमारा अभी इतना मुनाफा हुआ है, हमको अभी यहाँ पे ये फिक्स करना है, अगर हम ये कर लेंगे तो हम यहाँ तक पहुँच सकते हैं, तो आप बताओ आपको क्या लगता है ऐसा. And that felt like a group on a mission.
Right.
And वो देख करके I felt so motivated कि यार this is who I want to be, this is what I want to build. And I think that conversation was amazing. In general, that was a epic meetup.
Right.
Like he is known as the youngest in the room always, and still demands that respect from even a 50-year-old who's working in the company. So that is commendable.
I've heard very, very many good things about him, that he's very humble and that he's very hardworking.
Yeah.
Like he's very on ground hardworking, not just like sitting in an office and like doing his work.
Yeah.
He's very on ground. I want to get back a little bit. At what point did you start your businesses then in your content creation journey?
So I started MarkitUp. It's been exactly 4 years today or a couple of days ago.
Nice.
So we started MarkitUp with my roommate from college. And the goal was that we see so many companies around on YouTube, on all the social platforms who burn money in ads. Right? And that is a great way for the giants, for let's say Swiggy ka ad aapko dikh gaya before you watch a video. But it's a race to the bottom, ultimately. The more ads you run, the higher acquisition costs get. And you'd know from your experience. And most of the funding, 40% of that goes back to Google or Facebook. There's a stat like that. But I had an experience of building an organic following on YouTube by building my own brand. And so I knew that you can create organic content and that can get you views if you know how to do it right. Sadly, most companies are not focusing on it at all.
Right.
They get the funding, they burn it in ads.
So what does your agency do?
So what we sought out to do was to work with companies and help them run their YouTube channels.
Okay.
So we would sit down with them, we would figure out what do they sell, who do they sell it to, and what is the content that audience consumes on YouTube. And how can we create content which will be shareable and searchable and ranking on the YouTube search rankings for this audience. And we just went all in with that. So, and then we help them execute the whole end-to-end pipeline for that.
Tell me a brand that you've done this for.
We've done it with so many brands. In 2022 and 2023, we were working with all the coding companies in India that you can think of. Geeks for Geeks, Coding Ninjas, Coding Blocks, Scalar Academy, all of these companies we were handling their YouTube channels.
And people would think that for this niche, it's harder to get organic views on YouTube because the content is going to be such. Like, entertainment and comedy is going to, pick up on
I think I don't get the entertainment and comedy wala segment.
But it does really well on YouTube.
It does really well.
Right? Compared to these
The TAM is so high.
Exactly. So to scale that is even more harder.
It works really well if you know what content to create. And because I've been learning Python, so I know about code. So I was the consumer of the thing which I was creating through these companies.
Right.
So we worked with them. Then 2023 May, we started working with 5paisa, which is a finance company, broker. And so we worked with them, build their YouTube channel. We worked with Mirai Asset, build their YouTube channel. And so इस तरह से बहुत सारी companies के साथ we started working. Recently, we've been working with a lot of SF companies. So smaller companies, let's say 5 to 10 employees, and helping them set up their YouTube channels.
Okay.
So we realized that we get paid the same or even higher when we work with a SF smaller company versus working with a listed company or a bigger company in India.
Right.
With much less hassle and the same payout or even higher and lower expectations.
That's why you're traveling so much.
Yes. And I'm able to meet the best companies out there and the best builders out there. And so I was just on a call this morning. And the person over there was the founder. And he was like, look, I'm an idiot in social media. You're the expert. You tell me what to do.
Right.
And I've never heard any Indian manager in a company or startup say that.
Right. Interesting.
They all have their thought processes ki kya hona chahiye, their beliefs.
Yeah.
But there are also people who have a blank slate. And so they let you do your best work and they reward you for that. And when that happens, that is when we're able to genuinely create great videos which work for the brand.
Right. Do you think it's important for content creators to then establish their own businesses?
I think it's important if you like it. Like, I enjoy learning more about how to negotiate a deal. That might not be the cup of tea for majority of creators who are just not interested in that.
Yeah.
That's why all the influencer marketing companies are there to help them with that. But I want to do that. So I don't have an agency which I am like exclusive to. And the running joke is that the agency is exclusive with me, which is MarkitUp. instead of me being with the company.
No, but even I find that a task because you can't be managing somebody that's running their own business and content creation.
Yeah.
But I also understand that creating content is a completely different skill from running a business. And so a lot of creators that have tried that are not necessarily successful at it. So either then they should tie up with somebody or something. So that's why I wanted to understand from you that you've cracked content creation, then you've also cracked like business. So like, how did you do that?
I was watching this documentary of Urfi Javed. She has a Netflix documentary.
Amazon.
I'm on Amazon. On Amazon.
Follow kar lo yaar.
So I was watching that and I was seeing how like she was describing how the behind the scenes look like.
Yeah.
She was very upfront about it, which I really appreciated. Then she was showing this time in which she was in like a meeting room talking to the people who were managing her, and she was like, "Ye banana hai, ye kyun nahi bana rahe ho," and all that. And that is majority of creators. कुछ गलत नहीं है उसमें, but you really have to get in founder mode if you want to build something from scratch. And so what that means is saying that I am responsible for it and I will learn how to do it and I will make it happen. And I'll learn through my mistakes instead of waiting for the manager to give me an idea for how to create a new IP for me. I'll try it out myself.
Okay.
And I'll learn how to do business myself. So I wanted to do that because that was interesting to me. My content is also around that. And I wanted to just level up from just sitting in front of the camera and recording videos.
Okay. Because you think that has a saturation
point? It teaches me so much about human behavior. In the last 3 days, I've done over 15 calls. And these are all like cold outreach calls.
Oh.
With founders in the valley. Okay. And I've talked with them. I've sold them. And I've just understood how to do sales outreach.
Right.
I've understood the entire workflow. And this is a skill which I would never have if I was just focusing on making videos. So I wanted to add a new dimension to my personality, which is that.
Right.
So I can sit with them. I know exactly what to say and how to close. So that's a new skill.
Nice. And what business skill have you learned through the way that's the most important?
I think in business, the best thing that you need to do is to sell your story.
Okay.
Of who you are, what you've done, and why this matters. And I learned this recently when I got the first office of my company in Bangalore. I hired full-time on-site people for the first time ever. Isse pehle, everyone was either freelance or even if they were full-time, they were in their house, maybe in West Bengal, maybe in another place. But I was like, I want to do it on-site. And when people come together, there has to be relentlessness in the company, in the people. Let's say they shouldn't need me on their head for them to be working the whole day. They should not slack off because they know what the mission is and they're committed towards that.
Right.
And so all the editors that I have, all the designers that I have, they stop the work when the work is done and not when the clock hits 7. And that is important. You can say, yo, this is like toxic work culture and all of that. But you have to understand, they're all like 20, 21, 22-year-olds. They've just started their experience. They like the work that I do. And I have built this mission that they are on with me to achieve this, which is to help people make a living doing what they love. And
do you only
all of my work is around that.
Do you only hire people that then don't see the clock and work passionately?
They all filter out eventually. So like I can tell that you're not driven, you're not obsessed with what I want to do. You cannot sit with it for long.
Unless they work for so many hours.
It's not about hours as such. Like they need to be like me. Like I told you, like I lost sense of time when I was first starting out, what I was doing.
So you only employ people that do not have work-life balance.
ऐसा नहीं है. But I don't understand the point of work-life balance, because if you genuinely want to do something remarkable in your career early on, you have to let go of the work-life balance. Ye work-life balance ka concept is for like people like 30s plus is what I think of it.
Okay.
I could completely be wrong. I'm just a 23-year-old. I can only see from my limited experience and my perspective.
Okay.
But we could have never hit 100,000 followers on the podcast account of Limitless, which is my podcast, in about 2-3 months.
Right.
If it was not for the manager who came up with all of those clips, who got that edited from the editor who sat over there and made sure that every day 1 or 2 reels go out in the format that we want.
Right.
So we have this creative culture that we want to not just cut a podcast segment and just post it. We want to genuinely make the people feel about what they are watching and what they are hearing. And that will happen through the best thing, which is showing movie clips. And that will happen through the right sound effects.
Right.
And so it could just be that 40-second clip which that editor could be editing for 6 hours long. Finding the right movie clip to put so that it immediately hits people.
Yeah. That I'm sure requires work. But I'll tell you my perspective on this is that life has phases. So like in some phases when you don't have so much responsibility or you don't have other things to do, I think it's good to build something that is hardcore and that you have to really be passionate about it. That's what I did early on. Like, okay, I have time. I don't have a lot of responsibilities, parents, family, etc. So I focused on work for those few years. Like I hustled. I had no work-life balance. I worked for like 12, 14 hours every single day. But then, life plays out. There will be phases where maybe, okay, you want to go out, you want to be with your family, or you are a caretaker to somebody, or that, whatever other responsibilities that you have. So I feel like it's phases, but the advantage of the hustle culture is you do it. So you set it up in such a way that then you can take those times off in life.
Absolutely. The average age of people who work in my company is 22.
Right. So that's helpful.
Yeah. So I think it is just that fit that I need. It's not for everyone.
It's not for everyone.
Exactly. It's not for everyone. That's why it takes me so long to find someone who can do it and who can leave their house, come to Bangalore, live there, settle in a new environment. I know it's different. It's not everyone's cup of tea coming to Bangalore and living there, and just dedicate to this one project.
Got it. I also think like for employees, at least for mine, I think there is a certain sense of work-life balance that I would like to give them, because I don't want them to only learn at the job, right? If they don't go out, because see, I'm getting the exposure because I'm the founder, I'm everywhere and stuff, and my work is more outgoing, but then they're looking at the screen all day, whether it's editing, whether it's whatever. But if they don't go out and they don't learn things that they will if they go out, whether it is to the beach or with their friends, you absorb a lot of knowledge when you're out. If I don't give them that time and that freedom, they won't be able to pick up other skills that will then help them at work.
Absolutely.
So I think it's important for that kind of a balance.
I think we do that as well. Like, for example, all of the team is sitting next to each other, and so they're collaborating. Let's say editor is learning how design works, editor is learning how to talk with the brands that we are working with. So it's a mix, and we do a lot of outings. Like, for example, we had 100K. So we were like, let's go, let's have fun. So we went out. It's a very friendly, like, as a vibe. Like, for example, sometimes they're like, I want to take a day off.
Okay.
So I'm not very hell bent on it कि नहीं आज तो आना ही पड़ेगा.
Okay.
So I'm like, ठीक है, okay, it's fine.
Right.
You'll come back. If you want, then I'll know.
Right. But tell me, Ishan, that since we're talking about like 2025, I saw your content and a lot of different ones on what skills to acquire, how do you make money, how do you better yourself. But if you had to, in a gist, say for somebody who's starting out today, whether they're 25, whether they're 19, what is it that they should focus on and do?
I think they should first of all focus on their overall personality development.
Okay.
And not just one skill, one domain, and go all in with that.
Okay.
So what I mean by that is, while you are learning video editing, you must also learn how to talk it out. While you are learning how to code, you should always know how to explain this to people. Like when I built my first project in a hackathon as a team, with my roommate, we were not able to sell it to the judge because मुझे बोलना ही नहीं आता था.
Right.
And there was a hesitation in the way I was talking. He was asking, अच्छा बताओ ये करता क्या है? And इसका application क्या हो सकता है? And I was just couldn't talk. I couldn't communicate myself well. So I learned that I need to stack my skills. So the base, which is the hard skill, which is, let's say, coding. On top of that, I need to learn how to communicate well. On top of that, I need to learn how to sell effectively. So all of these skills, when stacked together for a 22-year-old, will make you 10 times more valuable than a random developer who might be the best developer in the world, but doesn't know how to talk, doesn't know how to sell, and they're just sitting in their house and typing mean tweets on people's posts.
Okay, and what type of skills, if we talk about like hard skills that they should acquire, whether it's like designing or whether it's coding, whether it's AI, what should they begin with today?
I think AI is not a separate skill. AI is basically a tool through which all of these skills can be learned and used faster in a better way. So for example, you have an app called Replit. So Replit is a coding agent. You can open that app and you can just say, hey, I want to build a grocery list website. Or I want to build, what I built was, I want to build a fitness tracker, which will first ask me what is my weight, what is my height, and what is my fitness goal. And it should then suggest me the workout I should do for the next 1 month. It should then ask me to log my workout every day. Like, आज क्या क्या किया, कितने reps करे, कौन सी exercise करी. And then based on that, it should alter and change my future workout plan and my nutrition plan.
Nice.
It sounds complicated, right? This entire app was built in less than 7 minutes.
Wow.
On Replit.
Okay.
And so I say this,
like
that
your personal trainer.
It's like your coding agent. You can ask it to build anything. And so those junior developer jobs are so gone.
Yeah.
But now that you know this, you can now use it and you can do things faster as a developer. So the time of executing from zero to a basic prototype is down to 5 minutes.
Okay.
Pehle it might be 5 days. And so knowing how to do that is really important. So AI is going to be important for all of these fields. So wo to karna hi hai.
Okay.
But once you understand that, the most important skills that any 20-25-year-old should learn should be, first of all, sales. You need to learn how to build stuff and just figure it out, right? Figure it out. Let's say you want to build your portfolio website. You should be able to do that in less than a couple of hours. Just figure it out. Kaise banate hain? Kya, you can do it on Notion. You can do it by using Replit. You can do it with all of these tools. But just have the awareness of how to do that. That is really important. I think everyone should have an idea for how does product growth happen.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is, I learned this when I went to SF. And I sat down with all the founders, and every day they would talk about stories of companies which went from zero to $100 million in annual recurring revenue. And they did that with certain strategies.
Okay.
I got so much to learn in that experience. As a creator, I'm always into brand deals, ye promote kar diya, marketing.
Right.
Even with my marketing agency, I'm focused mostly on the marketing front. But there's a lot more to that. There's user feedback. There is user retention. There is making sure that you install the right hooks in place in the app to make people keep using it for longer.
Right.
How do you get people back? How does email marketing work? How do you create a basic prototype and launch it on all the platforms and get free traction? So these are all skills which can help you build anything and get customers for it and live that life of living anywhere and making money in dollars and just living your dream life.
Right. So I think what you're trying to say also is something that I've also done initially in the career, is if whether I was given like a social media bank to make, okay, but I was always very inquisitive. So I would sit with the designer also. I would go on the shoot and learn how to do the camera, even though it wasn't my job, but it was part of it, right? So I said, okay, I want to know, how do you take a picture? How do you record a video? How do you operate this fancy camera? Then I would sit with the designer, okay, how do you do Photoshop? Even though I'm not the expert, I would sit with the Facebook ads person in my job and then be like, okay, how are they running the Facebook ads? Then when I was doing marketing for products, I don't just ask the client that, okay, like, how do you do your marketing? What is your budget? I go beyond, okay, where do you want to sell? What is your demographic? How does the shipment happen? How many pieces do you sell on other, through other vendors, whether they have a store, etc. And that gives you an overall perspective about like life and product and building, and about people and like the soft skills also. I think that's the thing you're saying.
I think everyone should be a product manager. There's a role of PM at all the companies around us, but I think everyone should have the skills of a product manager.
Because then you know how a product
just to run a product,
like made and sold.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, that is an important skill. That's what I do for like everything. Like I'm real estate, for example. Like if you have to sell it, we're only marketing is one small bit of it, but then I go to understand the laws, then I go to understand like what is the floor price, what is the area that it is in, that all the difference. And also I think that if you're inquisitive, you can be able to build a lot more with the skills, and you get to also learn what other skills are there, and then you might
being
be good
curious
at it.
Is very important. And like best example of that is the first person we hired in the company.
Okay.
So he was so curious. he would always ask us questions and almost irritate us with the questions. So he
Even
joined as a
irritate
graphic
people.
design intern.
Okay.
But he kept asking questions. How do you like service the client? How does the video uploading on YouTube happen? Ye kaise hota hai? Wo kaise hota hai? So we started like telling him and sort of giving him some responsibilities. And today he manages all of the channels in MarkitUp. His salary has 20x'd in 3 years.
Okay. Wow.
And that happened as a result of him genuinely being curious about things and learning it on the way. So today he can write a great script, like a integration script जो होती है या फिर brand की script जो होती है. He can communicate what changes to make for a edited video to the editor. He can tell how a thumbnail needs to be designed.
Right.
And now these are essentially roles of separate people. से 3 लोग होने चाहिए जो सब बता रहे हैं. He's able to do all of that. And that makes him much more valuable.
Right. Tell me also that if somebody is starting YouTube today, since you're the YouTube expert, what should they do to grow like their channels?
I'm no YouTube expert.
You are. You're doing it for other people also, and you're doing your own channel. So your channel obviously was at a certain time. You set it up, you've learned, you've seen what's working and all. And it's maybe more motivational and educational. But if somebody had to start a YouTube channel today where everybody says YouTube is crowded, which I don't believe in, then what would you tell them to do?
I think the best thing you can do is to just document your journey.
Yeah.
And just start with that. Because today in the world of, AI generated videos and like hyper editing, what genuinely works is just being yourself and showing up. This is my life as a 23-year-old living in Bombay, and this is what I'm learning, and I'm sharing all of that. And especially on Instagram Reels, that's working really well.
Yeah, I was going to say also that this year, if somebody asks me what, I say don't give gyan, don't teach, you have to do storytelling.
Exactly. So just talk about your day, what happened and what did you learn, not learn, doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's just what you're doing.
Yeah, it's just something that happened in your day that you just shared with people. Storytelling works really well.
Storytelling
that's the top 3 skills that you can learn. One has to be storytelling.
Okay. Right.
And that comes with sales, but it's a little different as well.
It takes time also to be able to tell the story and effectively. But I think that, if somebody's starting today, whatever they're doing, it can be molded into storytelling. So that's a bigger advantage. Otherwise, you would have to, I feel like 2 years ago, 5 years ago, teach skills.
Exactly.
And so that's changed. Other than that, tell me, like, we've spoken about all the highs. Tell me when does a business hit a low or YouTube hit like a stagnation point?
I think it was difficult, especially when I think it has always been difficult. It wasn't ever aise rosy ki ab to badhiya ho gaya.
What part of it?
I think hiring is the craziest part as a 23-year-old especially. Because you're trying to hire people your age and you are trying to basically build a company, but most people don't take you seriously.
Yeah.
And that just comes with gray hair. I was with a friend of mine and he was saying, yo, let me take you to my office. He showed me his 100 people seating capacity wala office. He said, I have all these people working. And I was like, kaise karte ho? Like, how do you know all this? It's like, Ishan, it just comes with age.
That's true.
So there was a quote, right? You can't make 9 women pregnant and get a baby in 1 month.
Yeah.
Some things just come with age.
So what are you saying? You've reached that age?
I'm not. So no. I think I am learning how to like hire people.
Okay.
I think because the type of company that I'm onboarding as like clients, they're all in SF now. So they trust like a 22, 23-year-old more.
Really?
And they don't have that bias.
Yeah, there they don't.
Themselves, they're like that only.
Yeah,
so they are open to betting on younger talent. And they genuinely like that. They're like, we'd rather work with a young person who has no experience, no, what is that, backlog or belief systems or things that they have in their mind that they think is correct.
Yeah.
Because then they're open to learn.
Right.
So that's
hiring, but has been difficult.
Hiring has been very difficult. Managing everything while I'm traveling has been very difficult. I travel, so my YouTube content or my short content doesn't get posted a lot. And I think that's pretty much it. But I think the answer to all these questions is having more leads.
Leads.
Yeah, it's all a leads generation problem.
Really?
I think everything in life is a lead generation
You
problem.
must be getting a lot of inbound because of your presence
I
online.
know, but they're all mediocre people, mediocre inbound.
Oh.
What do I do with that? Most of it. Obviously, there are good people as well. But I think everything in life, from dating to starting a business to growing on YouTube, it's all a problem of not having enough leads.
Really?
Yeah, like if you would have more choices in life, you'd know what to do better.
Okay. I'm thinking about it in all those contexts now. Dating, if you had more options, you would be able to choose better.
It's just a choices fella problem.
Okay.
There's no one who's crying about not having a relationship when they have choices or when they have enough options. No? Am I wrong?
Lots of choices also could be sometimes confusing of what to do.
That's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have. Okay.
I was talking about this to my mentor and I was telling him कि यार अभी ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा है अभी इतने सारे वीडियोस बनाने हैं मुझे मैं क्या करूँ सारे brand deals and all. Yeah, that's a good problem to have.
It is.
Live with it.
People tell me when I say I have so much work to do, people say bless it because it's an advantage that I have so much work to do. Thank God. Have you ever made a financial mistake? Biggest financial mistake that you made?
I think I have, and the biggest financial mistake was not investing in the last one and a half year.
You did not invest?
I did not invest. I just forgot about it. I was so there was a time when I was first trying to make money and I was watching all the finance content and I would invest and I would micro optimize for everything. I would read so many books on finance and Dhando Investor and Intelligent Investor and Walking Down the Wall Street by Peter Lynch, and I would invest all of my money to the single rupee at the end. Then I realized that it's better to focus on making more money than focusing on how to double that money through investing.
It goes hand in hand.
And it should go together. I agree with you, but I just sort of forgot about that.
This is the first time I'm hearing someone say, I make money, I have money, but I forgot only that I have to invest.
Like, I think it just stopped interesting me. It was just not as fun.
Okay.
It was like I might as well focus on like making more or just having new experiences or focusing on other things in life. I'm not getting back to it.
I shall advise you that you need
this is not, do not
listen to his financial advice at this point, even though he's the finance person, maybe I'm not.
But I think it's important. Like just yesterday I was talking to the person who was talking about personal finance and Pranjal was like, my question was, what should someone do when they get their first salary? Like how to invest when they first get their salary. And he was like, अगर पहले बार कमा रहे हो लाइफ में तो उसको उड़ाना सीखो.
Yeah, I agree.
उससे मस्ती करना सीखो.
But why can't it be balanced? You have to have certain amount to enjoy.
So he said after 3-4 months, just enjoy your life. And then start investing or figuring out about your long-term plan. But ना क्या होता है ना आप वो सारे Excel sheet वाले videos, सारे finance वाले videos देख करके आप पैसा आता है उसे कहीं लगा देते हो. And you don't get to enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Yeah.
So you stop focusing on like making more in itself.
I read somewhere that you should actually, even if you can't afford it, go sit in a business class, put that extra money and sit over there, because then your mindset is such that, oh, I want this, and then you'll work hard enough to be able to do it. So sometimes when I'm splurging, I splurge beyond my limit a little bit, that, okay, I want this, and then I work harder to be able to have that life.
That's little beyond lifestyle inflation there.
Little bit. You have to be sensible and save most of it. Like I save a lot of my money. But then when I'm like going out and doing something, I would think that I'm investing in myself. So like if I'm splurging a little bit or like I'm doing, okay, this in business also, for example, okay, let me do it a little bit better. Let me put in more money. For example, I could have started the production level of this podcast at a lower level. Like people could have been like, you can use iPhone cameras.
This is investment. This is proper investment.
No, but you can do it a little bit more and say, okay, I want a proper podcast setup so that then I can aim to get those kind of guests. But if I said, no, let me start with a like an iPhone camera, for example, or like a home setup or something, wouldn't have been the same today. That's what my mindset when I started the podcast was. That if I invest a little bit more, it could be better for me. And that comes with like time and experience, to be honest.
True. Yeah, but I think that business class thing is...
It's
a slippery slope. I know.
It's not for everybody. It's for somebody who's already kind of reached there. And they'll be like, okay, one time you take that business class, you know what kind of a life or lifestyle maybe you're aiming to live.
The first business class of my life was in 2024 ka Feb, like about a year from today. And that was after I had achieved a lot of goals. And then I was like, "ठीक है ये कर लेते हैं," which was like a
exactly
thing.
So you should be able to.
Yeah, but like it came after a lot of time.
Of course.
Like if I could afford it 2 years before as well, but I just chose to not do it because I was like, it's just reckless spending.
Right.
So it's not.
But now we have to talk about one fine day on the news. I see in shorts on my news. Suddenly it's like this 23-year-old talks about making 40 lakh rupees a month, and it was
not 40 lakhs.
Everywhere. Obviously, it's more than that now.
35.
At that time?
Yeah.
That's where I read on the news everywhere that you make 40 lakh rupees a month. So obviously you do.
Inflation ho gaya.
He's adjusting it. No, but like obviously you do. But the whole point is, do you look at money differently now? And also I'll tell you something that's not something I would do. I wouldn't say how much I make. So what is your thought process behind talking about that?
I think the reason so that was a question that I asked in a podcast.
And
did you see the podcast?
I saw.
So most people did not see the podcast.
Right. Which is why that headline.
And so those were people who I look up to, and I wanted to know their thoughts about this problem that I have right now. So I asked that as a genuine way to understand how do they think of it.
Oh.
Now it came out like a very, clickbaity type of a clip. Everyone was like, "Itna kamate ho, main to itna kamata tha pehle."
Right. It was a big thing that a 23-year-old is
Yes,
doing that.
It is a big thing. I'm grateful for it. But in general, I think when you start, so I made my first 1 lakh in a month was November of 2020. And the next month it became 3 lakhs. And the month after that, it just kept growing from there. When you start making that much money in 20, 21, 22, 23 age, it changes your mindset for what goals you have set for yourself.
Yes.
So for example, my goal after the end of 4 years of college was to get a 1 lakh per month job as a software developer. That's all that I wanted to do. When I hit that goal in November of 2020 in second year of college, it was like, ye kya hua? I just found like a shortcut. Wo nahi hota?
Yeah.
GTA mein like a cheat code and you reach there. And so then I think it just stops mattering after a point. It just becomes like a game. So making money is less about what it will do for me after a point, and even all the people that I meet. And it's more like a games thing for them. They're just playing. They're in a game and they're just figuring out how to do it better, how to learn skills while applying those and making your pot of gold in that process.
But you've been more stable about it than other 23-year-olds that I have seen who have suddenly got so much wealth. Because what I mean by that is a lot of people, it can get to your head, and then you start kind of then focusing on all the good things that come with the money instead of then focusing on how do I make more or how do I be more, learn more skills to keep this stabilized. I've seen the difference between other 22, 23-year-olds and you, because it gets to you.
The best thing I did was to keep being in a circle which keeps me feel grounded.
Right.
What I mean by that is, when I started making more money, I started making more connections with founders or just people who are shipping, who are doing exponentially bigger than what I was doing in terms of the impact, in terms of the money, in terms of the companies that they are building. And so I always felt small. I was always the youngest and the smallest company owner or whatever you want to call it. And so I think that is the best thing I did. Because even today, I don't think that I'm doing enough.
Yeah.
I think I can do better. I am happy. I am beyond grateful. Yeah. But I know that there's more.
Yeah.
I know that there's more to do.
Otherwise, I've seen a lot of creators where they're like, okay, we've killed it. And then everybody around them will be like, oh my God, you're this. And then it kind of gets to their head where they'll be like, okay, I've done like enough, or I've become this, or I have 1 million followers or 2 million followers. Yeah. It kind of does. Tell me, as somebody so young, if somebody is also like starting out and if they want to invest. So for example, if somebody has like 50,000, 1 lakh rupees, do you suggest for them to invest in themselves, in a mentor, in a business, or in courses? What do you suggest?
I think first of all, invest in your skills.
Okay.
So for the first year, I think put all of your money into yourself. इतने सारे 20-21 साल के लोग हैं जो अपनी पहली कमाई को किसी कंपनी के स्टॉक में लगा देते हैं और खुद के स्टॉक में इन्वेस्ट नहीं करते, राइट? एंड देयर लाइक they're thinking that उनको उस स्टॉक से ज्यादा रिटर्न मिलेगा वर्सेस खुद पे इन्वेस्ट करने पे.
Correct.
Which is absurd.
So many people don't see this.
Makes no sense. Like if you are, let's say you're a video editor working in some agency making let's say 30,000 rupees a month. You take up a course to learn After Effects and you get into animations. Animations is more valuable than just YouTube editing. Then you get into teasers, trailers of products, of movies. That's even more valuable. And so you start leveling up your skill, even in the same skill set. Video editing ही कर रहे हैं, but the thing that they're outputting is just higher quality. And so it is more valuable to people. We made a product hunt launch video for a startup and charged them about $1,000.
Okay.
It was a 2-minute animated video. And they happily paid.
Yeah.
And so there's just things that you can do like that by leveling up yourself, and that will be the best ROI on the money that you have.
It's something that you don't see, but you really need to invest in yourself. So I tell people, like, learn, go out, whatever you can do to learn with the initial money that you are earning will help you get better instead of actually putting it in stocks and investment and like gold or whatever that they decide to do.
Yeah, I look at life as 10x opportunities, right? And so I just focus on that. And you can probabilistically you can never get a 10x opportunity in the stock market. ऐसे ही कहीं पे भी कहीं भी आपने कर दिया invest मिल सकता है, but that's not how you should think about it. But there are ample of 10x opportunities in your own life by skills, by upgrading your own self, by your upgrading your own like physique, for example. You will feel automatically much better.
Yeah, you speak a lot.
Energetic.
About that.
Like forget everything else. Managing your energy levels by investing in yourself is so underrated.
Right. Tell me, like, now what are your thoughts on traditional education?
I think for certain domains, obviously, like doctor, lawyer, it is really important. But for most cases, you don't need a 4-year degree to learn how to code. You don't really need a 4-year degree to learn management or learn consulting for that matter. If you have the skill with you, you can very easily use things that I just told you, Google AI Studio, or just use ChatGPT, Deepseek. You use all of these tools to just improve yourself better and just start reaching out and closing things yourself. Instead of waiting for that traditional roadmap being set out for you कि 4 साल आप college करो, 10-15 लाख का loan लो या फिर parents pay कर रहे हैं, उसके बाद you start your first job, फिर you're leveling up, फिर यार मेरे को MBA कर लेना चाहिए, फिर do MBA, then उसमें वापस 2 साल गए, फिर वापस you're coming here, MBA में 15-20 लाख तभी कभी होता है, and then you're again trying to work.
Yeah.
You're starting with a 30 lakh
behind.
So you're behind.
You're going behind. Even I think that that's true.
And people don't understand that. Even people who are like हमें तो international exposure चाहिए, and they're like इसलिए MBA कर लेता हूँ. I think that's the worst thing you can do. Like, okay, I understand you want to be in those groups, and MBA gets you access to a lot of people that you otherwise would not. But so is the case with having a skill. Obviously, you need to have a skill, and then just going in events.
Yeah.
Like I went to SF and there were so many events I attended, and I just met people and chatted with them and made friends with so many founders. And I automatically got those opportunities. I don't have an MBA. I don't even have a bachelor's degree. I'm a 12th pass out closing deals in SF without having any laurels like that. I've built my YouTube channel and that helps. But so can you build something of your own. But it's not templatized. It's not a roadmap.
It's not for everybody. Everything is not applied for everybody. Everybody has to see what they like.
So if that works for you, then you should do it. If you are not someone who can just go on your own and like figure things out, then you should go with that route, because they'll handhold you, spoon feed you, ye karo.
But then it doesn't work in life anyways.
मतलब
nobody's going to spoon feed.
ठीक है, मतलब it works for some. I'm no one to judge. It was for a lot of people, for everyone.
The entire thing is like not to judge.
Judge करके बोल रहा है, I'm not going to judge anyone.
You spoke about Deepseek though. Tell me, what is Deepseek better at than ChatGPT?
It's better at sharing its thinking process.
Okay.
Think of it as your overthinking friend who knows about everything in the world but thinks too much about it and puts the thoughts out loud. So it's thinking out loud. So when you ask it, I just said hey to it. And it had a 5-line paragraph in which it is thinking about hey. So I wrote 4 Ys after hey.
Oh.
So it's like the user has said hey with 4 Ys. Maybe they're too enthusiastic and excited to talk. I should reply back with a hey with a smiley emoji.
It's just really an overthinking.
That's just a example. But that's not the right way. Maybe you ask it about anything that is going on in your life. It thinks critically, comes up with an answer, reevaluates it. It is like, oh wait, maybe I'm wrong. Let me think through this again. So it thinks about it multiple times, figures out the right answer and gives me the right answer. So forget the answer. Look at the thinking process of Deepseek. And that's what you don't get in ChatGPT, even after paying for ChatGPT.
Right.
And Deepseek is free.
Right.
So that's what makes it.
And it's made cost effective also. It didn't take as much to build it that it took ChatGPT.
That's debatable. We don't know about that.
Yeah.
I know the number that you're going to say that is out in the public, but that's not really the cost of building it from scratch.
Really?
Yeah, it's built from so Deepseek R1 is built from the Deepseek V3 model. And the training of one instance of V3 into R1 was $5.5 million or $6 million.
Oh.
But there was a cost which went into building V3, which was their base model based on which the R1 thinking model was built. And this V3 model might have taken them millions of dollars to build.
Oh, which they're not considering.
PR. Learn PR from that.
Interesting, huh? I wouldn't have known the inside story that they're not calculating the cost of that.
But they've written that in the fine print. कि हम ऐसा नहीं करते हैं.
Terms and conditions.
हाँ, so it's there. If you would read it, so you'll find it over there. It's all there.
Oh, all right. But I think AI is obviously getting better with it.
But it's obviously much more efficient.
Okay. And then there would be tools in the future that would then be more effective. That's where we're headed with AI. You use it for everything, I'm assuming.
I do a lot of my work using these tools. Everything from coming up with ideas, brainstorming, especially with the thinking feature now. Like I can really talk to it. I can use the Google AI Studio, Gemini, and talk to it.
Tell me top 5 AI tools that you think everybody should use.
The most important tools that you can use today, first of all, has to be Notebook LM. It's by Google and it helps you learn anything. Let's say you have a video that you want to watch and you want to ask questions. So you ask Notebook LM. It generates a podcast that you can listen about that video, about that website, about that PDF, anything that you have, and you can learn from it. Notebook LM. Number 2, you should absolutely learn to use Sora.
Yeah.
OpenAI by Sora is a brilliant platform with which you can create any video that you want to. And that's great if you're in the creative field. Third tool, obviously, as I said, Google AI Studio. You can learn anything that you want with it. And you can talk to it in real time. So it can look at what is in your screen and can tell you what to do after this step. So you learn everything step by step in the easiest way possible in real time for free. The last tool to learn has to be, I think Deepseek we already covered. Napkin AI, for me particularly, is very good because with it, I'm able to turn any text into visuals.
Okay.
Visuals which would otherwise take me hours and hours to make on PowerPoint or using the tools on video editing. I can do that in seconds. It's a completely, again, free tool that you can use to build stuff quickly. That, and if you're a creator, you should learn how to use AI avatar video apps. So using HeyGen and 11 Labs, you can create an AI avatar of yourself and you can do that and scale your brand indefinitely.
Especially personal brand.
Personal brands. If you're in the news space, if you want to cover news in your particular field, then that is a very good way to do it because you can instantly go from the news coming out and in 30 minutes, the video of yours can be out without you having to record yourself.
What do you think about creators who are using AI completely and then, audiences are sometimes like, is that a AI or is that a real content creator?
That's one comment out of, let's say, 100,000 views.
Okay.
A few people will see it, but it doesn't matter. People don't think it's not that deep. It's not that deep.
Are your videos your videos or is it AI?
No, my videos, I've been doing it myself because I generally enjoy recording videos, but I know friends who have been doing it for over a year.
Creators.
And their audience is just watching it.
Yeah, I don't think Varun Maya creates his own videos. He's using the AI and he speaks about it openly that he's using, and so many other creators also.
So we've started selling this as a service to founders. So
I'm going to connect with you on that.
So again, it's just that mindset of knowing what is valuable and selling that to people who don't have that. So I know that this is for people who do not have the time.
Yeah.
Like I do this full time, but there are people who do not have the time to make it, but they still want the eyeballs and the traffic.
Right.
So the best example of those people are founders, right? They want their personal brand, they don't have the time. And so we sell that to them.
Got it. I think a lot of people just don't know about the options that they have to make their work easier. They think AI, oh, you're talking about ChatGPT, or Max, you're talking about Sora or something like that. So I think
there are a lot of tools. There's a website called futuretools.io, which has a collection of all of these tools. And every week they add new tools. So every Sunday, you can just make it a habit that like you're reading a newspaper. You can spend 1 hour on that platform, just looking at all the tools. And if something is in your industry, there are AI tools for lawyers, there are AI tools for marketers, there are AI tools for every field. Just go and explore. There might be something which can help you do what you normally do faster.
Yeah, got it. Ishan, I want to understand, since you've already built these businesses, you'll obviously scale them, your content, you'll scale that. But where do you see yourself in 5 years? What do you want to do? What impact do you want to create?
I think the mission has always been to help people make a living doing what they love.
Okay.
So I know that when I got the chance to do the best work, which is into marketing, which is into content, I can do it forever. Like I can keep yapping about this and make a 10-hour long podcast about how it can help any business with so many different case studies. But I think I want to enable that for everyone through my videos and through this medium, covering stories of founders and how they've built it, documenting my own journey, coming up with lessons that I'm learning and sharing that with people. I have limited knowledge, but I'm learning every month and sharing whatever I'm learning with people. Like for example, I learned about sales outreach. Now this will be a video which will go out in some time about how to do sales outreach.
Yeah.
So I just focus on doing a lot of these things, and that helps out. Every time I go to an event, I meet that 22-year-old who comes up to me and he's like, bro, I learned, let's say, blockchain development from your video and I got my first job.
Wow.
And I just got paid last month and I just bought my first MacBook. And so he comes up to me and he hugs me, and that is what fills me up with joy. Like, how can I inspire the next generation of tinkerers and builders to go out of the traditional education system and build something that they're truly proud about and keep upskilling themselves?
Right.
That is the mission.
Yeah, your mission is very clear, but I'm sure in the next 5 years, there's going to be a lot more things that you're going to do, exciting things that you're going to come up with that help the same.
Absolutely. We're building a AI tool actually in the company.
That's itself. What I was asking.
So we are helping companies figure out content marketing with a click of a button. So essentially what we do in the company, but done with AI. So you would come, you would put your website link, you would press enter, you would get the entire 1-pager summary of what your content strategy should look like for your company.
Oh, wow. When is this launching?
Couple of months.
Okay, exciting.
We are fine-tuning it. So once that
you're going to take a lot of people's jobs. Like you're going to take a lot of marketing agencies.
No, I think this is best for marketing teams at companies.
Exactly.
Let's say they've been doing YouTube, they've been doing ads. That's what companies do first, and then they have more money for branding and YouTube, word of mouth. So then they start focusing on content. But how do they do it? They can very easily get an idea using this tool, and they can then start building up all their content based on that.
Got it. Sounds very interesting. I'm still looking forward to it. All the stuff that you do.
I'll get you access to it today itself.
Oh yeah?
Yep.
But building products, I think more products, building more better community around it. I think merging it also would be very interesting to watch.
I'm writing books, writing all of these, making all these videos, creating tools, and just being curious about everything.
Interesting. I've been a follower and a subscriber since a long time, so I'm very closely watching what you're doing. But before we close this, I have one more question. I want to understand from you, since at this young age you've created so much wealth for yourself already, do you look at money differently now? Like, for example, there's something that I do, like I will constantly still find ways to save money. And recently my friend told me about this platform called Dealzy, and it's actually pretty good. You get a lot of savings on top of any ongoing offers or sales that are, and it goes up to like 30% on like 300 different brands, and there's no like cashback or waiting, just like it's just instantly you're saving money. And so the other day we were all craving for pizza, so then we all ordered like Domino's at home, and our order bill was around 1,000, and I think we ended up paying only 850 using Dealzy. So that's how I saved like 15%, and I use it all the time, even on like different apps like Amazon and Nykaa, etc. I want to understand your perspective of like wealth.
I think there was a video I was watching, I think when I was 18, which was like a motivational talk around money. There was some guru, but he said something really cool. He was like, money is just a tool, and it just amplifies who you are.
Correct.
If you're a Mother Teresa, it'll just make you more of a Mother Teresa.
Oh.
If you are a builder, it'll just help you with that even more. But for me, the best use of money for me is for the people around me. So doing it for my parents, I just found like a duplex in Bangalore, and I was like, I want to get this for my parents. Okay. Like, this is stuff that they would watch in movies, that they've seen in videos and all. And I'm like, I want to get this for them.
Right.
They will be having their 25th year anniversary in March next month. So I'm going to take them to Dubai. I'm going to make them have the best life, or that best experience possible.
Yeah.
So doing it for my parents just brings me immense joy, more than anything, more than... I don't buy cars. I don't have a house. I live in a rented space. And I love that. I don't want that. But just doing it for my parents, that gives me another high.
Exciting.
Papa ko milte hain log office mein, bahar.
I'm sure.
And they're like, acha, aap to Ishan Sharma ke papa ho. That fills me up with so much happiness.
It is a great achievement.
His eyes light up.
Of course. Very nice. How sweet. And it should be like that.
Yeah.
You've done it already. But like, I hope you keep going in the same direction.
Working on it every day.
Yeah.
There's a new concept called micro-retiring.
Yes, I saw.
By Gen Z people. And basically that is about making like decent, like okay-ish amount of money and then just using the rest of the time to just chill and live life.
If that's what makes them happy and fulfills them, then they can't complain about, oh, I want that life.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Then you should not bitch
Then
about.
You should not complain that, oh, I want to fly like this or I want to buy this, because then you should be happy in whatever you have. So I think it's important for, say, content creators, because now they are the voices, to be able to say that this is black and this is white and this is my opinion on it. Like, and not be afraid. That I see in a lot of upcoming good talent, like in the country. So that's... it's not too much. It's like proper. It's good. You should be able to say what you want to say.
Thank you for the validation.
I constantly keep doing it. So it's fine. We have a small gift for you.
Oh wow, in the podcast itself.
During the podcast. So we want to record your reaction.
Is proof we got a gift.
No, it's for your reaction.
Live unboxing.
So the creator of this space has actually designed this. And we made it a little fun and young and quirky this time.
Should I show it?
Yeah, you can.
Thank you so much.
But thank you so much for coming and doing this.
Thank you.
I had a great time.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you found this interesting, then please leave a comment and I will speak to Ishan about all the thoughts that you guys have. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.